Good morning. We're here in the lab of Floratine Products Group here in Collierville. What I want to do is to demonstrate to you a little bit about our new product, Eon 75, which is a granular humate. Now, besides what we've talked about in the presentation, I wanted you to understand how much viable humic acid there is in this relatively small amount of material, and also to understand that it's a time capsule release throughout the season. I've placed in here this little beaker, about a tablespoon of material of our Eon 75, which is greens grade in size. It's 80-110 SGN, and when this is placed on the soil at the recommended rate, it will get released in the soil profile by three things. One, raising the pH through the soil, the pH of the soil actually being 7 or above. It's also released through hot temperatures that you would get in the summer, and through microbial activity as they live and feed off of this highly organic material. However, this raw material has a pH of 3.5, and as a result, if I place this in straight water, it ends up not releasing immediately into water because it needs to be higher than 3.5 for it to dissolve. So what I'd like to do is accelerate a demonstration of what takes place in the soil by artificially raising the pH of this. Here I'm adding water into this tablespoon worth of material, which it's a little bit cloudy now, but it actually hasn't dissolved. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of a caustic material, add it into this solution so that I can begin to release. You'll need to cut while I get my... What I'll do now is I'll stir this a little bit, and as it's in the soil and the pH of the soil, begin to release the humic acid out into solution. It'll actually release about 0.5% of soluble humic acid into solution. And you'll see, instead of it being just cloudy, it's actually turning to a nice rich humic material. If I was to let this sit for a period of time, it will actually steep out in here, and then if I slowly decant this material off into this beaker here, allowing the material to stay, so I don't lose any of the granular material in the bottom of this. If you can see here, I still have most of the solid material still here in the material. Okay. Now I'm going to add some additional water into here and see if there's any more humic acid that's available to come into solution. And of course you see there's a nice rich amount of humic acid again that comes in solution and steeps out. And again, if I let this sit so that there's no solids here, and then I slowly decant this off, and you can see that virtually all of this is here. Okay. Okay, and again, I'll add some additional water into this. Now, granted, I am exaggerating the process by raising the pH of this solution a little higher than what it would be in the soil, but it's to show you how much is available. That will come out over the course of the whole growing season. And I can continue to do this for a period of time, and what we'll do is you will see as the time on the clock here changes that I'm still not using very much of the solid material. I have most of it still in here. Stop. And you see I've gone ahead and dumped a few more extractions off. A few more minutes have elapsed in time, but here this is, I think, my 6th or 7th time of dumping off of the same material. and it's just as rich as the other material was. You can see how what it looks like here. And still most of the material is in here. Stop. Alright, here we have about the 15th time in which I've dumped material off. You can see it's a good rich looking material there in the tank, and again we're having a good quantity of liquid humic acid come into solution, which is represented by every time we irrigate or get a rain, there's a fresh supply of humic being released into the soil profile, again feeding the microbes and making changes in the soil that are beneficial for the overall health of the turf. Even though as I get closer to this, you can see I still have virtually all of the solid material still here. It produces a very, very large amount of stuff. And let me pour this one off as the last one out of this gallon material. Virtually all of this gallon material has now been applied to this tablespoon of material. You can see it's a good rich material again, and as I continue to pour this off, there's still a fair amount of the solid material still left in the beaker here, which would over a period of time continue to release good amounts of humic acid into the soil profile. We used to say that 1 tablespoon of this granular humic Eon 75 would produce about 1 gallon of a 0.5% solution. 44 pounds of this material would produce and release over 600 gallons of a 0.5% solution of humic acid over the whole season as you get rains and irrigation. And this is really a very beneficial thing to your soil, so that you get a continuous supply of a very small amount of fresh soluble humic acid every time there's additional water put in the soil profile. Thank you.